connecting your brain and body with interactive games and tests. Why is there no physical activity in today's health physical? Tracer is an holistic technology used to rehabilitate, prevent falls, and improve sport performance. Tracer reports provide you, your clinician, your physical therapist, or athletic trainer objective data to make decisions on your health and performance over time. Measure what matters to change your game. Take the Tracer Challenge. Confidence, growth, connected by Tracer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, John and I are back, fresh off the NFL Draft 2022. The Sports Arena's in the house on a Monday night. Your man, Eric Wilson. I got the entire crew here with me tonight. Megan Price from 806 and the Sip-Off, and Megan Price's WNBA Carousel. Mike Harrison knows Believe in the Pac-12. Sports reporter up, Ray Lynn, who I will see in 4 very short days in the Windy City, in Chi-Town. Man, it has been truly a blessing. Good evening to each and every one of you. We got a lot of stuff to get into, so we're not wasting any time here tonight on the Sports Arena. Let's jump right into it. John Shearer, go ahead and get it out your way, brother. You took game 1, 106-92, Miami Heat. Granted, we had no Joel Embiid. I'm not using that as an excuse because I still had DeAndre Jordan. I still had Tyrese Maxey. I still had Thibault. I had Denny Green, which someone put an APB out on that, brother.
The only guy you can mention is Tobias Harris because that guy
you're
was
right. You are
amazing
right.
for you guys tonight. And Reed was really good at the beginning of the game for you guys until he got into foul trouble. He was really good for you guys. So I mean, this was a game Miami. This was a game Miami had to win, right? I mean, without Joel Embiid in game 1, you have to win at home. The higher seed, no Embiid. You have to win this game. So, I mean, Miami did what they had to do. The big game will be game 2. Can Philly survive and split the series, go back to game 3 at home? That's when Embiid is supposed to come back. Can they do that? So game 2 will be pivotal in what happens in this series. I'm not bragging because it's just one game. We saw Miami was up 8 after 1 quarter, and right away Philly came back and they took the lead, and they were leading at half. So this series is far from over. I'm not bragging. Joel Embiid will be back at some point. And like you guys said before, series doesn't start until game 3, really. So it's just one game. And this was Miami's expected to win. So it's not like they shocked anybody. You know what I mean?
There wasn't a shock, but I did see a lot of runs between both the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers that, allowed this game to be what I hoped it was going to be. And that really wasn't one team just dominating all the way.
It's going to be a dogfight of a series, right?
Speaking of
Can we take a second to just laugh at Eric saying that he had DeAndre Jordan?
See, Megan, I was going to be nice to you. Hold on, which way are you? This way. See, Megan, I was going to be nice to you tonight, and I was going to say I finally understand what you mean by PJ Tucker, but since you want to run your lips tonight, at least my team is still in the playoffs. How about that?
Oh no, you're right. And actually, I want to say, I'm gonna give some props to PJ Tucker, actually, who apparently he needed.
Wait, hold on. What? Wait. What?
Yeah,
hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm giving props. I'm giving props to PJ Tucker. It seems like maybe he just needed a different coach. Maybe he got tired of getting called up called out for putting up donuts, but the man has been putting up double-digit numbers and still doing his double-digit rebounds and has found a system that works for him in Miami. So shout out to him. He's been doing great. He's had double digits. Look, he had 10 points tonight. In a couple of different games last series, he had 16 points in each one of those games. So I got to eat some crow. Give him a shout out. Good job, PJ. No more donuts.
Wow. I never thought the day would come where Megan Price would show love to PJ Tucker. What has gotten into you, Megan? I need to know this.
It's a little cold here in Texas tonight.
So hell froze over. That's what happened. Thank you very much. Now I know. Let's get down to Mike and Raylin. Talk to me about what the two of you saw with this game, because I know Mike has a TV on in the background. He's waiting on his Phoenix Suns to get started. So before you get to that, Mike, and your head nods be turning all night long, talk to me about Phoenix. Philly and Miami and what you saw.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it. It's not an excuse for Joel Embiid, but I mean, you see the game, and I mean, full disclosure too, I was going back and forth because Eric, it is a holy night too. It is the first night of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I was going back and forth. But Bam Adebayo, I mean, he had his way. I mean, he had his way down low a little bit. I mean, you look at what he put up 26 tonight. So yeah, I mean, John's right. When Philly made that run, I thought Harden might do a little bit more, but you know, I just think with Harden, he wants to get rid of the stigma. And again, we know in Houston it was dribble, 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 shoot, hit a shot, and he hit a high clip, and we know that. But I just think that not having Embiid it overstates the obvious, but at the same time, like defensively, it makes Adebayo work harder down there. So it's not a surprise. I mean, I still think Philly wins the series, but it's just tough because you have no Embiid, and that is, I mean, obviously your dominance, your focal point. He always stands up for everything. So, but I mean, look, Miami knew it was going to come out like that. The fact that when they were down, it was like, I'm like, all right. But I mean, again, not surprised they won without Embiid, but I do think that, you know, DeAndre Jordan, to your point, is still serviceable enough, Eric, not according to Megan.
No.
DeAndre Jordan is still very serviceable. He's no stiff, as you know, I like to say, Eric. But yeah, I mean, look, they made a run. I think they needed more from Harden in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's my only thing.
They needed a run from everybody in the fourth quarter because, as the commentators, as Grant Hill was saying, you could definitely see fatigue had set in. So I guess in this case, it did benefit them. They should have closed out Toronto a lot earlier than they did. And now they have to find a way to get themselves back on that level. And by the way, Megan, for your preseason team that's only averaging 96.5 points in 2 games, keep that same energy because trust me, the season starts in 4 days, girlfriend. I'm going to come see you. Don't you worry about that. Back to Raylin here. So, Raylin, someone posted in the comments that Doc Rivers, coach of the 76ers, was the man who let the team down tonight. Give me your assessment from the coaching perspective between Spoelstra and Doc Rivers.
Spoelstra got the better talent. I mean, it's really not like people are going to find a way to blame who they want to blame. Like if you're not a fan of James Harden, you go, this is on Harden. If you're not a fan of Doc Rivers, this is on Doc Rivers. This is on talent. Like how many teams are going to go out there in the second round? And we've talked all year about how deep and how talented the East was. We all talked about how a good or multiple good teams were going to go home in the first round. And we saw that. Toronto was a solid team. We saw Brooklyn go home in the first round. And we saw Chicago, who was near the top of the East all year, go home in the first round. So what did we expect the second rounds to be? All wars. We talking Brooklyn, Miami, Philly, and Boston, right? Ain't gonna be no easy out. So now you lose a guy who 3 people haven't played better than all year. Like he's been one of the top 3 players in the NBA all year, and you lose that guy. What do people expect? Like Miami is deep. They have that collection of talent, like reminiscent of like the 2000s Pistons, where it's like, yeah, Jimmy's the best player, but on any given night, it could be anybody. In the 2000s, like Rip might give you 20, Sheed might give you 20, Chauncey might give you 20. Like when you look at Miami, Jimmy might go off, Bam might go off, Tyler Hero might go off. Duncan Robinson didn't even play today, right? Like they're just loaded with talent. Oladipo's getting back in the fold. Philly has no chance without Joel Embiid. Like when we was calling the series and I said Philly was going to win, that was contingent upon the guy who I had as the MVP playing. You lose the MVP, the guy who's been the best player in basketball all year. This isn't on coaching. This is not having the bodies. They just don't have the talent. Like without Joel Embiid, Philly, you said earlier, Eric, you said, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. No, this is the perfect time to use it as an excuse. Joel Embiid's been the best player in basketball this year and he's not playing. What do you expect to happen?
I expect the rest of my team to show up. Now I'm gonna tell you how I feel about the whole situation.
Eric, they ain't that talented.
All right, listen, Raylan, to all your points, you make very valid points, but here is what I'm going to say to you. When we get down to the nitty-gritty of it, it's about the whole entire team. It's not about one player. It's just no different than the five of us sitting here. One of us does not make up the sports arena. It is a collection of groups, just like the Sideline Sports Network family. It is a collection of talented individuals. When one of us falls, there are others to pick that other person up. And that is what I expect tonight. When I look at this game, you knew going in, this wasn't a last minute thing that happened on the way down to Miami or during practice. You knew after game 6 that Joel Embiid was going to be out. So you now, not only did Spoelstra have to game plan for the Philadelphia 76ers, but the Philadelphia 76ers had to plan for themselves. How are we as a unit, as a team, how are we going to be able to handle this powerhouse defense squad in the Miami Heat? Listen, Jimmy Butler left us a couple of years ago. You don't think he remembers how we play? He don't think he understands our emotions, how we do stuff? Okay? Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, Danny Green, the list goes on and on and on. But the fact is, James Harden, we needed to show up today. If we would have lost by 6 or 7 points, I wouldn't be having this conversation with y'all. But we lost by 14. And that was the strategy all night long. As much as Miami wanted to run a 2-3, we tried to run a zone. And when we gave them the perimeter shots, except for when Tyler Hero was just popping them from the cheap sheets, that is when we had an opportunity to seize the moment. But for some unknown reason, we just were not able to get the job done. And I will never put the blame squarely on one individual. What I will say to you, though, is it is about next man up. And what happens on Wednesday night is going to dictate what happens this series.
You are correct.
Enough said. We're going to keep it moving. I'm going to take a real quick, short 10-second break just so I can show everybody's face and show love to everybody who's a part of this family. We're going to come back and we're going to transition to the NFL. More with the crew. Be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I got Megan, John, Ray, Mike, and your man Eric here on the Sports Arena on a Monday night. So, breaking news came down this afternoon. Actually, it was around 11:30, some 45 this morning. The Honey Badger has officially found himself a new home. That home just happens to be in the Superdome with the New Orleans Saints. So, Mike, I'm going to come to you first, and then I'm going to hit Ray Lynn and Megan, and then finish up with my man John Shearer. Talk to me when you saw it come down, the news, Mike. What was your knee-jerk reaction to Tyrann Mathieu being now a New Orleans Saint?
I have to say a little bit of shock, Eric, just because you think that going from the Chiefs to the Saints. Okay, are the Saints a contender in the NFC? Well, no Sean Payton this year. Jameis Winston obviously be back, but we don't know exactly when he'll be back. And defensively, last year, look, I was on their side defensively. I know they weren't the best defense in the league, but they definitely did enough, and they played well as a defense. They were able to get pressure and stuff. Yes, somebody like Tyrann Mathieu going, inevitably back home, even though when he had to leave with the issues at LSU, but he always that's home to him. So, a little bit of shock, but if you're the Saints and you're a Saints fan, you got to be stoked. When he left Arizona, like I said, obviously I'm a Cowboys fan, but for Cardinals, I'm like, what are you doing? Because the Texans actually paid him a little bit less money, but he just felt disrespected because he felt like he was a good citizen. And then we saw what he meant to Kansas City's defense, especially the last 2 years, if not 3. So it's a great pickup for the Saints. I'm just, again, doesn't make them contenders. And the guy wants to win. So that's why I'm just a teeny bit shocked, but I think it's no surprise it happened right after the draft too, and probably he was comfortable with the direction that they went in the draft. So good for him, but man, a little bit of shocked. I would have liked to see him go maybe a few hundred miles to the west, and have a star on his helmet. But that's just my selfish.
All right, that's enough. That's enough of Mike.
Lord have mercy. So my knee jerk reaction is funny. Shout out to the homie Big Guard Tyree in the comments said he not trying to win. And that was my first thought was, he don't really want to win. He should have won contender. But then I did some research and I'm like, the Saints had the 4th best scoring defense in the whole NFL. They gave up less than 20 points per game. So then I went to look at the rest of their defense. And they was like top 5 in sacks, top 8 or so in knocking the quarterback down. So they got pressure, like Mike just said. They got to the quarterback. But they were middle, and they were top 5 against the run as well. So that tells me that their front 7 is solid. They get pressure on the quarterback and they can stop the run. But then it's like middle of pack, like passing, right? Middle of pack passing yards. So I'm like, okay, so they're trying to shore up their secondary. And then you think about the rest of the team. New Orleans Saints were 9-3 in games started by Jameis Winston and the other boy who really can't play quarterback. What's the kid name that can't play quarterback? Somebody
Taysom Hill.
He's a running back.
No.
They were 9-3 in games started by Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. 5-2 in games started by Jameis Winston. Then he gets hurt. Like 0-4 with Trevor Siemian and the other kid, right? So then you start asking yourself, okay, if Jameis Winston is back healthy, we have a quarterback who can win games. Alvin Kamara's in the line, and we good. And what if Michael Thomas comes back? And all of a sudden you go, the Saints are kind of a sneaky pick, like to win the NFC South. Like, I don't think he doesn't want to win. I think he's looking and going, I can make a difference with this team. The one place they really, really need help is in the secondary. And I can help shore up that secondary. Front seven already doing their job. New Orleans might be on something.
I got to agree. With Raylan, I really feel like they made a difference on their defense here with their secondary. You got to look at their draft too. They picked up Smoke Monday, and that boosts their secondary as well. Saints lost both of their safeties in the offseason. Marcus Williams went to B-More and Malcolm Jenkins retired. So not surprised that they went after a big name in the safety position. A little surprised that it was Matthew, but the Chiefs signed Justin Reed for 3 years for $31.5 million. So not too surprised by that. And just a reminder of exactly how good Matthew is. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, 26 picks, returning for 3 touchdowns, 76 passes, defended 610 tackles and 10 sacks in 9 seasons. So they definitely brought some heat to their secondary and drafted well as well. So I don't necessarily think they're contenders to win the whole thing, but they could come in on a wild card.
All right, let me address Raylan's comment. All right, they won that many games with Jameis Winston. We all know that was fraudulent. So let's not the Aaron Rodgers game. That was not on him. Like let's not play this game. If you look at their schedule, they weren't very good. And I tried to tell you guys whenever you guys were giving me this MVP speech about Jameis Winston after 1 week, told you get out of here, and then he fell down to earth against Carolina, and then they were hit like a roller coaster. So get out of here with that nonsense. Anyway, they have to play all defense to win games because if you guys remember, Alvin Kamara is probably not playing football this year. So they're going to have to be perfect on defense this year because you don't have weapons. I mean, yeah, you drafted Olave. That was a stupid move, trading all the way up, doing that. Michael Thomas, we have no idea. This guy hasn't played in a couple years. And Alvin Kamara probably won't even play football. So you have nothing on offense. Jameis Winston's coming off a really bad injury. We don't know what he's going to be. We know whenever a guy has an injury like that, it takes time to come back. Usually it takes at least a year until you can come back and be yourself mentally and physically. Joe Burrow, obviously the exception. So, I mean, like Tyree said, he ain't trying to win. Like, he's just trying to get paid. And, he's all the way down there in Louisiana. So I get it. He's near LSU and stuff like that. But the Saints ain't doing nothing. I mean, they just don't have the weapons. They have nothing offensively to make them a threat. And their defense is going to have to do it all. So, thank you. I'm done.
Hey, Eric.
That's nonsense. Jameis Winston.
Please go ahead.
Were the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs last year?
We know that was a
hold on. What about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Were they in the playoffs last year?
We know that.
Yes, sir.
We know what the Saints defense.
What about the New England Patriots? Were they in the playoffs last year?
You're going to come at me with the New England Patriots were in the playoffs argument? No, you're really going to give me that?
I'm not.
Because remember, the Chicago Bears made the playoffs a couple years ago.
But what you just did, John, was you made all his wins null and void. He was 5-2 as a starter, and you said, "Oh, that doesn't count." How they don't count, John? They're wins that actually happened. 3 of which they came against playoff teams.
Context.
Playoffs? We talking about playoffs? He won 5 games and lost 2. And as soon as he got injured, they went on a 5-game losing streak. Don't tell me Jameis Winston
that's
don't
cute.
matter.
Okay, why don't you go? Well, hold on, Raylan. Why don't you go?
14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions a fluke in the NFL. How is 14-3 fraudulent? Quit using that word. It's the NFL. 14 touchdowns, 3 picks.
That's the same thing as telling me Taysom Hill beat Tom Brady in last year in the regular season game. No, go look that game up, Raylan.
Yeah, but listen, John.
Go look that game up. Look at the stats. What they beat him 9-0. Defense shut out Tom Brady.
John, you can draw whatever you want to draw from it. What I'm telling you is, to start the season with Jameis Winston as the quarterback, they were 5-2. I don't care how you slice those wins up. You play football to win games. Jameis Winston gets hurt, they go on a losing streak. Those are facts. Now, if this was Tua, you'd be talking about, hey, but he winning games.
It don't matter if it's Jameis Winston or not. He ain't good.
Man, listen.
That dude don't win you games.
John, I have a
try telling you guys
14 yards.
John, I have a slight problem with your assessment. All right. You're sitting here and you're saying in one breath that you're the stats guy, John. Are you not the analyst guy? You were the guy who was continually bringing numbers and facts to your argument. But when we talk about someone who doesn't fit what John Shearer wants to talk about or doesn't want to give him credit, then you want to find every excuse in the book as to why he's not relevant or why he's not the right guy. But John, look at what Jameis has done. You can't ignore that. Whether you want to sit up here and admit to the fact or not, the bottom line is he did that.
What did he do?
The Saints. Now, wait, let's talk about the Saints for a minute because this is what is going on.
Yeah.
What is the one thing the Saints defense over the last 2 seasons pretty much has been able to do? They've been able to shake, rattle, and roll Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. I know, Mike, you don't like that terminology, but for this argument, that's what we're going to say.
I don't either.
All right. But it might, John, offense gets you points, but defense wins you championships. Now you're adding a key piece. You are adding.
I'm not knocking the defense. I'm just saying they have to be perfect because there's nothing on offense.
John, I'm gonna tell you, like Malcolm Jenkins said when he was in Philadelphia, it ain't got to be pretty. It ain't even got to be right. Mm-hmm. We just got to get the dub. And at the end of the day, that's all we're going to remember when it comes to wins and losses and who beat who. We're not going to go in the history books and try and say, oh, on this date during this quarter, they put up this many points or had this many yaks or whatever. What are we going to look at? What's the first thing we always look at? Wins and losses.
I tried telling JB and Jake this last Tuesday. It's context matters. Context matters.
If context matters, Eric, real quick, if Aaron Rodgers came out
winning matters
that game last year,
winning matters, but Aaron Rodgers and Trent Dilfer have the same amount of
John, you're back in timeout. Go ahead, Mike.
If Aaron Rodgers would have came out and won, because I think you and I talked about this, Eric, when we were texting when I got back. If Aaron Rodgers had won that game and not thrown those picks and looked bad, if Aaron Rodgers came out and threw 5 touchdowns, everybody wouldn't have been. What was the excuse we heard from all the talking heads? Oh, he wasn't in camp. He's rusty. Yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. If he would have won that game, Aaron Rodgers doesn't need camp, this and that. Jameis Winston, if he would have thrown 5 picks and not those touchdowns, same old Jameis. Sean Payton's got his work cut out for him. Again, John's right. Context. Thank you for proving my point. Because if Aaron Rodgers wins that game and does what Jameis Winston did, it's okay. He didn't need camp. But because he didn't, we made excuses for Aaron Rodgers and said, Jameis Winston wasn't going against an Aaron Rodgers that was full strength. I didn't do that. He looked good. 14-3. Dude can ball, and he showed it.
I just don't. This is what I don't get, John. Like, we as fans, we as media, we pick and choose when we want to apply certain narratives, right? We watched Jameis Winston throw for 5,000 yards, but all fans did this. But he had 30 picks to go with it, and they didn't win games. So now he gets into a system where he dials it back. He's not chucking it all over the yard, but his team is winning games. They're 5-2 with him under center. Look very similar to what that guy that y'all call the greatest did to win his first couple of Super Bowls. Drop back, let the defense do their job, and don't lose us the game. Many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls doing that same thing. Peyton Manning won his last Super Bowl like that. Russell Wilson won his Super Bowl like that. Cam Newton made it to the Super Bowl doing that. So, now when Jameis Winston does it, he done showed us he could throw for 320 a game. He did that.
Don't give Peyton Manning credit for that Super Bowl. Don't you give Peyton Manning
But I'm with John. Listen, you're speaking to my point, though. I'm saying many quarterbacks have won.
Peyton Manning was not the man to win that game. But what was he? He was the quarterback playing the game, and he did what he was supposed to do. That's why I said
context matters.
Right. So what I'm saying, John, if we're saying context matters, right?
Yeah.
Like, we watched Jameis Winston throw for 320 yards a game, and people said it didn't mean nothing because they was under 500. Brought Tom Brady in with that same team, and they win. So now he goes over to the Saints, and he don't have to chuck it all over the yard and throw for 320. Now he's throwing for 170-something a game, handing it off to Kamara, letting the defense do their job, and he's winning games. And that's problematic, too. When he showed us he could throw for 5,000.
5-2, big deal. That's not even half a season.
Listen, John, that's the only sample size we have. You can't say he can't win when the guy's 5-2, and as soon as he out of the lineup, they lose 5-6 in a row. Like, we can't act like that doesn't matter.
Sam Darnold was 3-0 after 3 games. Big deal. Like, I mean, it's a couple games. Give me a whole season and see what happens.
7 games.
So that's
John,
not half a season. It's not even half a season. Like, get out of here with that nonsense.
Again, 9-3. The New Orleans Saints were 9-3, and games started by Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. And
congratulations.
0-5, I think 0-5 or 0-6 with
Trevor Siemian
and Ian Brooks or whatever his name is.
Congratulations,
right?
Raylan. You're going to leave out the context. You said, what'd you say, 9-3? Because one of them games they won 9-0 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That has nothing to do with the quarterback.
John, did they win?
That has nothing to do with the quarterback.
Because you didn't turn the ball over.
Hold on. So wait a minute, John.
You ain't
going to give them a win.
You are not getting away with this one. You are not getting away with this one. John Shearer, answer the question. Did this New Orleans Saints answer the question, John? Yes or no? Did the New Orleans Saints beat Tampa Bay Bucks? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So who was the quarterback under center when they won that game?
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill was the quarterback?
Yes.
Okay.
They won on
Taysom
Sunday
Hill,
Night Football.
But it doesn't matter. Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, the two of them combined, because Jameis got injured, they had a winning record, which was more than half a season.
All right, Mac Jones won a game throwing 3 passes last year against the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. Do you give him a win for that?
Yeah, because
context matters.
John, did he win? John, did he
you're
win?
really going to give him a win for that? Like, you're going to mark that.
John
you're
Shearer,
going to mark that.
Did he win? Answer the question. Stop deflecting and answer the question. Hold on, Raylan. Stop answering the question. Stop deflecting and answer the question.
They won despite him.
Win? John, okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to be under center in the National Football League as a quarterback. When the winds are blowing 30 miles in your face, and you can only do what you are capable of doing, but you still find a way to get the job done. Mother Nature tried to stop you when you got the job done.
He handed the ball off.
That's his job.
Okay, you know what?
Hey, Eric,
get out of here.
Hey, Eric, you know what's funny? When we talk about that quarterback draft class, and we talk about the guy in Florida that threw for 180 yards per game his rookie year, all we gonna hear from John is he was 6-3 though. That's all we gonna hear. When he threw for 180 yards a game and he looked nothing like Herbert or Burrow, we're gonna hear he was 6-3. But now when Jameis wins, they won in spite of him. He handed the ball off. Like, y'all be having these double standards, man. Just keep the same energy. That's all I want.
John,
keep the same energy, John.
No, you're right.
So Raylan, do you count that as a win on his win-loss record?
Yeah, because they won the game.
No, you're not Raylan. Question. You're Mike Cartenuto.
Doesn't matter. It's a ridiculous question.
Yes, it's
Thank you. That hesitation tells me everything I need to know.
No, the hesitation is because if you've listened to the Sports Reporter Without Pay, if you listen to Raylan, I've been on record forever as saying I think it's stupid that quarterbacks have records. I think it's stupid that quarterbacks get all the credit and the blame. But since we do, when a guy goes 5-2, we're not going to ignore it now. We're not going to ignore it now. We're not going to say, he's 5-2, but I don't like him, so it doesn't matter. But when Tua is 6-3 and throws for 180 a game, I'm all for that. Let's throw a parade in Miami because Tua went 6-3. Even though he can't throw worth a damn, let's throw a parade about it, John. But when it's Jameis Winston and I don't like him, when he throws for 5,000, that's a problem because he ain't winning. When he throw for 170 a game, that's a problem because he ain't doing enough. That tells me that I don't like Jameis Winston, and I'm going to have a problem no matter what he does because I'm John Shearer, and that's the
I don't think he's a good quarterback.
Just
say
that's your opinion.
Just say that.
But at the end of the day, it's about the W. That's what it's about. Okay. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about the W. You can stretch it. You can throw numbers. You can throw stats. You can throw whatever you want in my face. But I'm going to tell you this much. At the end of the day, it is about the W because that is what people remember.
Okay.
People like us will go back and look and see the stats and the analytics and what happened and this and that and the third and the fourth. But the common man, the common woman is going to look at this quarterback we put on this level because of the wins they've achieved. And this quarterback we put on this level because they haven't achieved as much with regards to wins. But this is what I'm going to say to you, and then we're going to break because we got to sort of love the DB&A television. John Shearer, you know what you and I have in common, besides the fact that we're brothers and we love each other, is the fact that both our quarterbacks currently right now have no excuses when it comes to this season. And when we get to the Dolphins and when we get to the Eagles this year, you best believe you better have that same energy. Because I'm telling you what, when your schedule
I was the first person to
John
say it.
Shearer, make it a point to understand this. The first time you come out your mouth and try to hand me some lame excuse about what Tua couldn't get done or what he wasn't able to do or the weather was playing against him or he had to do this and do that, guess what? I'm coming at you with this exact clip right here.
Just remember, Raylan.
We are going to break. John, shut your trap because you're back in timeout. I'll see you in a minute.
If you have a business, company, or product, and you want to reach the right audience, contact DB&A Television. DB&A TV reaches over 100,000 viewers a month and has advertising plans for all budgets. You can see your ads running on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, On Demand, and dozens of other top platforms for only $1 a day. Call our advertising sales department between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, at 484-695-5187. That's 484-695-5187. Make the call and then watch the results. It pays to advertise on the DBNA Television Network.
Welcome back into the Sports Arena. Man, Eric Wilson, alongside the entire crew. We had to show love to our girl Megan, who has been patient this evening with all four of us men, because sometimes we just get in our own way. So, let's transition back to the NBA. I don't know if Mike, if you've got an update or you got anything going on right now. What's happening with your Suns? Do you know?
They're up by. It went to commercial. Yeah, they're up by 8 with 4.5 seconds left to go in the first.
Okay. All right. So Phoenix. I have them at 34-25 with about 2 seconds left. But listen, all we know is Phoenix is up. John, guess what? Phoenix is winning. How about that?
I told you they'd mop the floor with whoever they play in the second round.
Anyhow,
it ain't no challenge. The Mavs ain't
Speaking of challenges, John, thank you for that layup. I love that. So here's something I'm going to challenge y'all with. Game 1 between Phoenix and Memphis.
You mean Golden State?
I'm sorry. Thank you. Golden State and Memphis. Draymond gets ejected for a flagrant 2 because, and we've all saw the video, so we ain't going to replay it back here tonight. But I want to ask each one of y'all, and we're going to start with our Queen of Hoops. Did the punishment fit the crime, Megan Price? That's my question that I want to ask you.
I definitely don't think it was a flagrant 2. Flagrant 1, I think that this was a call based on his reputation. They were quick to throw it at him because he's known for doing this type of stuff. Sorry, gosh. Known for doing this type of stuff. And so that's his reputation. He's known for that. And so while this was not a flagrant 2, they threw it at him because that's his reputation. It was one of many bad calls in this game. So there was definitely some bias. The refs were more part of the storyline, but the Dubs were still able to get it done. We saw Jordan Poole step up with 31, 9, and 8, and he's had a couple of games where he didn't have that many points. Steph was a little bit slower on the scoring side with 24, and then we saw Clay with 15. So proof that Golden State is very, very deep. It doesn't matter if one of them is having an off night. You still have offensive powers within the other two. And do I think that Draymond was wrong in going on and talking about this, not with the media that was there at the game, but on a podcast afterwards? Absolutely not. I think it keeps the entertainment value up, and I think it keeps the refs accountable. So instead of talking to the media in the building about that, he took it outside of the building, and I love that. I think keep them accountable.
So, Raylin, let me come to you with that same thought process, and Megan kind of teed it up for you. Was that the right decision? And more importantly, do you see other superstars in the NBA maybe taking that route, not speaking to the media, but then going on, whether it be one of their own podcasts or a podcast that they trust, and voicing their opinion?
They're already doing that. They're already doing that via every outlet of social media, right? Like we know KD with the burner accounts, and we saw KD and Kyrie on the live talking, and you got athletes now with podcasts that give them a platform to come on there and talk. You have Knuckleheads with Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. You have All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. JJ Redick's podcast is amazing, and all they bring on is players, right? So they've Steph Curry got something on YouTube going on. Like all these players have platforms to come out and do it their way, right? So when the media come out sometimes and trash players like we do, like we can't then expect them to owe it to us to come give us the story. Like they don't owe us anything. So him doing it his way and wanting to go speak about it on the platform that he saw fit, which again, you know, it's his platform. He wants to bring viewership. So as opposed to coming out here and giving you a sound bite, no, I'm gonna do it on my own platform. I have zero issue with it because he don't owe nobody nothing. and the call was atrocious, right? I missed the memo when Draymond Green woke up and became a dirty player, but people have started to kind of run with that. And it's like the dude's always played hard and played with his emotions and played with his heart on his sleeve. Him, guys like Marcus Smart, Patrick Beverly, those guys just play hard. Like, he's never been dirty to me, but he does have the reputation of going at the refs and things of that nature. So it's always a quick trigger with him. I thought it was bad. It's bad. As Steph said, it's bad for the league. It's bad for the playoffs when you take one of their key players. What's bad for Memphis is they still won the game, though. So I don't know how that works out for Memphis after this.
So, John Shearer, let me come to you because Ray Lynn, again, I love that y'all are teeing this all up for me. Ray Lynn said something that kind of resonated with me. Golden State still won.
Yep.
Like, can we marinate on that for a second? Like, Memphis, they should have been able to take this game. When you take one of the key players out of the game, that automatically gives the other team an advantage, does it not, John?
This is karma. I mean, right? You anybody watch that T-Wolves series? This is karma. The Grizzlies shouldn't even be here, and they got away with all them. They earned it, but they got all them comebacks. They should not have won that series, and they still alive. So when you lose a game that you should have won, that's karma. So that's what they get. And Golden State's going to end up beating them. Probably beat them in 5, to be honest. I mean, they're just a better team. As I said before, there's just not enough on Memphis' team. But this is about Draymond. This is not about how Golden State's going to wipe the floor with them. This is what happens whenever you have that type of reputation. Like you guys said, you end up getting the trigger pulled quicker on you than other guys. Avantez Burfict, guys like that in sports. You've seen guys like that have pasts, and then they get the trigger pulled on them quicker than other guys do. You know what I mean? Like, that's typically how refs work, is they know that they're going to pull it a little bit sooner than for somebody else. So we saw it in the finals with what happened with him. That's very controversial with what happened against LeBron James and company. Draymond's always going to have that tag next to him, but like Raylan said, he plays hard. He's a physical player, and those type of players don't really exist anymore. There's not a whole lot of them anymore. So whenever we do see those type of players, because NBA's kind of become a little bit more fragile. Their players are a little bit more fragile now. They don't like to get down and dirty. Players don't like that, and fans don't like to see that anymore because they like the 3-ball. They like to see all that stuff. They don't like to see the physicality anymore. So, kudos to Draymond for being him. And then the podcast thing, that was genius because you can't get fined for that.
Hey, but can we real quick go back to Memphis isn't supposed to be there? What do you mean by that?
The T-Wolves should be.
There was some bad calls. I'll give you that. But how? What do you mean Memphis isn't supposed to be there? If it wasn't supposed to be there, it would have gone to a game 7. They got beat in 6 games. The better team is where they're supposed to be.
This is what I'm talking about, Megan, with context.
6 games. It wasn't.
The T-Wolves were the better team throughout that series. Never. They just have no. Yeah. They just have no idea how to hold on to a lead because they're a young, inexperienced team.
They lost
playing with
3 games with 20-plus leads. Right.
Exactly.
You are correct.
The
refs didn't do that for them. That was the
point.
And inexperienced coaching. That was not the refs.
But I'm not saying it's the refs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the T-Wolves were the better team throughout that entire series. But the fact that they're a young team, inexperienced, and do not know how to hold on to leads is what cost them. But they were better than Memphis. And like I've said before, when you live on the edge in the playoffs like that, kudos to Memphis for, I'm not taking anything away from them. The T-Wolves, to me, were better throughout that entire series.
John, hold on. You sound just like Mike right here. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, Mike, to do this. But, John, you sound just like Mike. You gonna sit up here and say,
"Well, that's only when I talk to Ray Lynn." That's only when I talk to Ray Lynn.
Mike, you flip.
I told you this. I told you
this
Friday
night. The Spurs couldn't close games out. Were they better than anybody? No, they didn't make the playoffs.
Megan, you watch that entire series. You know the T-Wolves were better than the Memphis Grizzlies that entire series.
Because I highly
they just couldn't close it out. They were better than them the entire series. There was one game Memphis was better than them.
If they were better than them, they would have closed it out.
They had double-digit leads in every single game except game 2?
Okay. All right. Let me get Mike in here because he's been patiently chopping.
You're better than that. Come on.
We're going to come back to
the
this.
T-Wolves were better.
But, John, you're in timeout again. Mike, please go ahead.
Well, as for Draymond Green, I'm with you. Like, I don't think he's a dirty player. But the one thing, and Ray Lynn, to your point, like, the one thing is, like, Do I think it was a flagrant run? Yes, most likely. But you're telling me that's a basketball move? Because, and Eric, I always like to say this. If I did that to you on the playground, Eric, reached for your shirt and pulled you down, you're probably gonna throw something. Like that's not a
but
basketball
Mike, did he
move.
actually? I mean, I saw the jersey grab, but was that?
Yeah, but when he's down and trying to pick him up, I mean, again, I'm not saying Draymond's dirty. I'm just saying, like, if you pull somebody's jersey, that's not a basketball move. It's not like he was, he stuck his leg out, the guy cut, and like he tripped him. But again, I don't think he should have been ejected. So, but when you put that in the ref's hands, to Raylan's point, and even to Megan's point, like when you put that in the ref's hands with, Rasheed Wallace come out all the time. He used to get texts that he did not nearly deserve. Like, and Draymond's not at that level yet, but he's pretty close. So like,
he's there.
He's okay. So we could definitely say he's there, but I can't sit there and say it's a true basketball play. But for the Grizzlies to lose that, yeah, I mean, that is a bummer. But you can't just say like, oh, he was out and they should have won. We just said that they were very deep. They missed Draymond for a good amount of the season, as we know, and Steph was out too. So I just think that the refs, as much as we don't want them to be a part of the game, Eric, there's one time it's like 2% of me, and it's only 2% because the playoffs actually agrees with them, because in the regular season, that probably would have been a flagrant 2 as well.
All right, if they kept it consistent, that's fine. Because, Mike, you and I, and that's why I saved you for last, what I was going to bring up was we always talk about if you're going to do it for this game, you damn sure better do it for this game down here. So that's why I wanted to save you. But John, I'm still, and we're going to go back to this. We're going to go down this rabbit hole. We're going to peel back these layers, because you are going to sit up here with the four of us and try and explain to us that Memphis was not the better team.
Hey, Eric.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, before you say he's up here with the four of us, say the three of us. Because I agree with John. If we watch the series, just look at how the series played out, right? Like, I can get the idea we go, okay, they didn't know how to close games. Memphis did. That made Memphis the better team. Got no issues with that argument. But if you really, like we like to say, peel the layers back of what the point he's trying to make. I would guarantee if we went back and did how they do time of possession in football, I would guarantee you that over the 6 games, if we were to look at the time each team spent ahead in the game, it was Minnesota by a mile. Probably by a mile. It felt like they were up the entire series. Like they literally outplayed them for 45 minutes every game. And it was that. But in the first
segment of the show, did we not just talk about the Jameis Winston got those dubs no matter how it looked?
Right. Let's not do the cross sport thing, right? I'm just talking about.
I'm just saying he got those dubs, right? Winning matters.
Yeah, they won. Yes, they won. Yes, winning matters. They won their plan. Like, we can't go retract and make Minnesota be playing against Golden State right now, right? Memphis won. They deserved it. Nobody's saying they didn't deserve it. I'm talking about to the point that Dron is trying to make to y'all, that if you watch the series, like, you can watch a series and go, man, I don't think the better team won. I think the better team gave it away. And that's the point. If you watch the game, you felt like Minnesota was supposed to win. If you watched it, not if you listened to what the pundit said, not if you looked at the standings and went, oh, that was a 2 versus a 7. If you actually watched it, it felt like Minnesota was the better team as you were watching. Like, they're playing them off the floor. How do you get up 20-2? Like, if Memphis is so much better, you go, how do you get down by 20 twice? Granted, you came back. I'm simply saying I understand John's point that is watching it, you were going, Minnesota.
But didn't Memphis also go wire to wire in game 2 and smack them around like
I said every game?
You mean the way they did to them in game 1?
I said every game except game 2.
But I'm saying to respond to that. Okay, so there you go. Every game but game 2. I'm with Megan.
Memphis was better.
It's a simple point. Everybody, we always talk about in NBA. Oh, teams like they need to overcome these hurdles, and you need to get past that, and they lose and they have whatever. Karl Anthony Towns the last 2 games was he's supposed to be their guy, and he's so. But
John Morant, hold on,
John Morant.
John Morant was. Hold on, Mike. John Morant was the whole series. He shot 38% for the series, Mike.
He did.
He shot 28% from 3, and nobody cares because they won.
In the closeout game.
Not a 3-point shooter, but if you can't close out a game, then you're not the better team.
He hit
in the
4
NBA.
shots in the closeout game.
If what?
He had 4 shots in the closeout game.
I'm not saying one player. I'm saying as a team. As a team.
But you
I'm
just
not going to
talked
say
about
any team's
individual
better
players,
if they
Mike.
can't close out. Megan's right. If you don't win, nobody cares.
Are you
don't
talking
get to
about
sit there and
individual
go on.
players or teams?
Mike, we can end this conversation with this, Mike, and this is for the whole panel. Mike, except for John. For Mike, Eric, and Megan, as fans, as an Eagles fan, as a Sixers fan, as 2 Cowboys fans, as a Phoenix Suns fan, as a Spurs fan, you've never watched a sporting event, a game, a series, and your team lost and you went, we gave that away. You've never said that as a fan.
Absolutely.
We gave it away.
No, but you absolutely have said that. But I will say this. Who closed it out? The team that won.
Right.
I mean, it's just simple.
That. I'm simply speaking to John's point that
it's a 48-minute game.
They played excellent in this series. And
if it's a 48,
right. They played excellent.
Mike, y'all answered my question, yes, and then argued the point. I'm simply saying that as fans, even media, we've watched sporting events, and at the end of it went, they blew that.
Right.
They gave that away. If case in point,
but
if Golden State would have lost last night to Memphis, right? We would have said Klay Thompson gave the game away. Right?
Because he missed his free throws.
He missed 2 free throws. Klay Thompson's a career 85, 86% free throw shooter. We used to have hitting him in that. Steph missed a free throw. Steph missed a wide open 3. If Golden State would have lost, I'd have went, Draymond went out, but they still gave that away. The better team doesn't always. I don't think the better team, or like the team I look at and go on paper, on the court, what they're doing, who's execute. Like I think Minnesota gave the series away. If you take away that Memphis won, so they're the better team, fine. But speaking to John's point, that as I was watching that series, I felt like Minnesota was the better team, and they gave it away. That's what I feel like.
Like I hear every coach say, cliche-wise, if you don't play the full, whatever the time, 48 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it is, you're going to lose. There's somebody across the court, across the field from you, punching you in the mouth. And like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get hit. How do you respond? Golden State did respond, and that's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and say Minnesota's better, because I think that's another problem with sports. Like you said, relating to that point, as fans, and you even said it during football when we were kidding around, like everybody wants to get their picks right. Like when I was teasing you about when I was like 1 for 7, but I got the one opposite of you or whatever it was. Like I was teasing you, but like, yeah, we want to get my picks right. But I can't say a team's better. I can't tell you how many times. Again, you're talking about like kidding around with Eric. Like, yeah, did I feel the Cowboys were better? Did they lose to the Eagles? Yeah, but I didn't sit there and say, oh, the better team didn't win. No, I just go pout and tell them good game, and I'm pissed off. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't play the full game, if Michael, okay, and I know it's a big if, but if the Bulls didn't like close those series out, or they didn't go to 7s, if Michael Jordan only would have won 1, would you look at him in the same light? People say
we're not gonna get Mike out, and I think we got one more subject. Let me ask you this, Mike. At any point in the first round, were the Pelicans a better team than the Suns? Don't give me a soliloquy. Just say yes or no.
Were they a better team?
Yes.
Like for the whole series or for a game?
I don't even think they were a better team for games. Like, it's like you go out for a game and you go, okay, we didn't execute our game plan, or we did this wrong, or we did that wrong. Minnesota did a whole bunch of things wrong for Memphis to win. Like, it's like when you looked at them, you went from a talent standpoint, when they are executing, when they're playing the way they can play, you're like, yo, they're better than them. And then they do something. If you listen, man, I don't even agree with Charles Barkley a lot. And he kept saying, Memphis is really talented, but they stupid and don't know how to play basketball.
Yeah, no.
Like every time they lost, you was like, how did that happen?
We're going to leave that there. You're right. We got one last topic, and we got about 10 minutes before we got to get out of here. So I have to ask this question based on what I saw. Now, listen, the Boston Celtics had a great series against the Brooklyn Nets. They had a dominant series against the Brooklyn Nets. They swept the Brooklyn Nets. But then they run into Milwaukee. And after what I saw, is the table going to turn? Are the Boston Celtics one and done? John Shearer.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they're one and done. We saw it. I mean, even without Chris Middleton, they dominated the Celtics. The Celtics just don't have enough scoring to keep up with the Milwaukee Bucks. They can't stop Giannis. There's just not enough there offensively. It's not enough there defensively to stop Giannis, to stop the Bucks. You like I said with Embiid, the Heat have to win their games without Embiid there. You have to win without Chris Middleton there. If you're the Celtics, like these are games you have to win, especially on your home court where you're the higher seed and you just got home court taken away from you now. These are games you cannot lose. Like you cannot lose this, and they got their butts whooped, and I think this is going to be 5 games at most.
Okay, Mike Carrottenuto.
Wow. Well, It's not even about being on the other side. And I don't think they're one and done. I mean, look, defensively, they'll make adjustments. They're the Celtics, the way they've played defense all year. And I mean, Giannis had 24 last night. Or yesterday, again, had a good game. But I'm not going to sit here and say the Celtics can't make adjustments and have the defense to do it, because we've just been sitting around like basically tooting their defensive horn since January. And now all of a sudden they don't have enough defense when
you guys have, not me.
Came back. But either way, I don't think it's not just going to go 5. The Celtics will have an answer. Look, the Bucks are a good team, but if Holiday doesn't have that game, I mean, with no Middleton, I mean, to me, that's the big question. And the Celtics, they didn't capitalize yesterday, and every time, I mean, they got close, and the Bucks went on some runs. I mean, I watched the game. I'm not taking anything away from the Bucks, but I don't think it's 5. I think this series goes 7, Eric. And I mean, if it doesn't, fine, but to that point, let the Celtics prove me wrong, because there's no way I'm saying, with the way they've played for the last 4 months, that they can't even up this series, A, at home, and B, go to 7 games or even beat Milwaukee.
Okay. Raylin?
Michael Caratanudo. I can go 7, but if it doesn't, oh well. No, this isn't over in 5. If we recall the 2000, I would think it was 17 NBA Finals, where Golden State beat Cleveland in 5, right? If you only watched Game 4 of that series, I think Golden State went up 3-0, and then in Game 4, Cleveland just shot the lights out the building. Oh, yeah. And they won one, right? And it was like save face, gentleman's sweep. But if you only watch that game, you never watched basketball before, and somebody just put you down in front of that game, you would go, Cleveland is leaps and bounds better than this team. It's just one game. Both of these teams are too good to take one game. People are going to overreact after game 1 either way. If the Celtics blew them out, people will be going, Milwaukee can't get it done without Middleton. And now that Milwaukee has a great game plan, they execute. How many nights is Tatum and Brown going to struggle that bad, all night? You don't think they're going to make adjustments? You don't think Kadoka's going to draw up stuff to get those guys better looks and open looks? This is going to be a long series. This series and Golden State versus Memphis are the series we were waiting to see, right? In the first round, we thought we was going to get all these wonderful series, and we didn't get them. And now we have them. It's the second round. And the East was top heavy all year. So you got 2 really good teams. I wasn't going to draw no conclusion from game. It wasn't even if Boston blew them out by 30, I wasn't going to say, Giannis looking like the best player in the world. And Tatum looking like he top 5, top 10. This is going to be a long series, a very long series. Anybody taking anything away from game 1, I don't know what to tell them if you go, oh, man, they got Boston figured out. It's one game. Playoffs about adjustments. We'll see next game. It's going 7.
All right. Well, the next game is tomorrow night, and we will see how the team adjusts. I saved the Queen of Hoops for last for this specific purpose. Megan Price, whether you love him or you hate him, you got to show love to Budenholzer.
Absolutely. And I want to ask, when you say, is this one and done, is it they're only winning 1 game in this series, or they're one and done, they're only winning 1 playoff series, and then they're done with the playoffs? What
I meant was how they did Brooklyn. I was under the impression that Boston was going to be a threat, and they were going to assert their dominance in every playoff matchup that way they were in. And I didn't see that last night. So I'm saying they're not going to win this series. That's when I say one and done.
Okay. So the simple answer to that is yes, they are one and done. But I absolutely agree that this is going to be a 7-game series, that this is going to be one of the best series out of the playoffs. I think Memphis and Golden State is going to be a great series as well. But last night we saw Giannis go for a triple-double, 24, 12, and 13, right? But on the opposite side of things, we saw Tatum was their high scorer with 21 points. Then you got Horford, 12 points, Brown, 12 points, Smart, 10 points, and White, 10 points. That's not ever going to happen again in this series, most likely. They might have one more off game for Boston, and that might be it. I do think the Bucks are the better team at this moment. And like you said, I got to give a little shout out to Budenholzer, and not necessarily that I just feel like, oh, he's made so much better leaps and bounds decisions in his coaching, maybe his coaching staff. But until somebody can shut down Giannis, I think that's the best team right there. He puts that team on his back, whether he only had 24 points, he had 12 assists, he had 13 boards. And then they're bigger. They've got Portis. And they might look better without Middleton on the floor, just to be perfectly honest. In the rotation that they have right now in this matchup, they might look better without Middleton. I do think it goes 7 games, though.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here tonight on the Sports Arena. I want to thank everybody for chiming in. I'm going to be very transparent. I am still reeling coming back from Vegas. John Shearer looks way better than I do, which is saying a lot considering this man was amazing. To work alongside John is one thing when you're on the screen and you do what you do, but to see him in our element in the NFL draft, let me tell you something. John, I'm not sure if I told you this or not, my brother, and I'm giving you your flowers right now because you know that's what I do. But you, sir, have invigorated and kind of just brought something out. It brought something out of me that's been missing for a little while. So I want to say thank you because you reminded me. You know me, I'm a huge wrestling fan. You reminded me who the hell I am and who the hell we are. And so I just want to say thank you for that because that has been missing. And we, the five of us, know why it's been missing. I lost a spark a little while ago. It's taken me a while to get it back. But let me tell you something. Being around him, and I'm so excited in 4 days to be around Ray Lynn for the first time because, first off, we're going to be in my second favorite city because, you know, Philly is home, but Chicago is my second love. Plus, I get to hang out with one of my boys, and we get to do what we do and show the world why the Sports Arena is the best network out there. So, for all of us,
literally gonna forget all about John in 2 hours.
Can y'all tell Derek Fisher to get out of the league? Can somebody pass the message along?
Megan, I'm giving him your number. Don't worry about it. He's gonna get your number. I'm like, yo, you need to call this girl. She is one of your biggest fans.
Oh,
you need to talk to her.
Make sure you record it.
Once you've met me, you don't
make sure you record it. Make sure you record it because
I got you.
Hey, for all of us here at the Sports Arena, for Megan Price, 806 in the Sip-Off, John Shearer, the face of Sideline Sports and the Sideline Sports Network family, Mike Carrot, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, and my man Ray Lynn, Sports Arena. This man's on Say What, Say It Again. This brother's on all the carousels, sports reported without pay. People, if you don't pay attention to the knowledge this man drops, I've said it once and I'm going to say it again, you are severely missing out. We will talk to y'all on Wednesday. Everybody stay safe. Peace.